Alright, so hey there recruits, and welcome back to Bootcamp 101. Today we are going to be covering, well, one of the most fundamental things that any player has to get down, and that is understanding the three main firing modes of full auto weapons in Counter-Strike. Today we're only going to be focusing on one, but regardless, the three of them are tap firing, burst firing, and of course full auto. But for today, we're only going to be focusing on tap firing. Now, this is a key and fundamental thing that I think a lot of people tend to struggle with. Me too as well, especially after coming back to CS2. I feel like my tapping is not nearly as good as it used to be, especially like when going for headshots in matches. Yeah, I've definitely de-ranked in that way, but, well, we're going to fix it together. So, this way of sort of learning and doing it was exactly what I did when I first started playing CS and trying to improve. And so we're going to be using the exact same thing today, and that is a challenge. The challenge is only to use tap firing for your kills. No burst firing, that is not allowed for kills. Absolutely no, no, no. Only tap firing. And this doesn't just extend to death matches or retakes or anything like that. In your premier games, in your competitive games, you have to use this, and that is a challenge that I'm also implanting or implementing on myself. For the next few days, or at least until I make the next video discussing burst firing and full auto, I will be doing the exact same thing, and at that point I'll probably make a follow-up on just how, I guess, anything else that maybe, I learned during that journey. But, of course, I won't leave you completely empty-handed. I will, of course, talk about some of the things you should perfect maybe beforehand so that when you do head into it, you can use it effectively. So, the most important thing, along with just being able to tap and also just being able to track someone and tap and whatnot, just as important is your movement. So how do you get that movement, and how do you use it with tapping? And also, why would you do this? Well, for one, tapping compared to the other two firing modes uses movement a lot, and you can really, like, how do you say, I wouldn't necessarily say abuse, but definitely like have an advantage because with tapping you can really like use your speed to your advantage compared to burst or full auto, which relatively speaking you will need to take more of a stop. But with tap firing, as you can see, with just about the right amount of stopping, you can basically keep moving. So how do you do that? That is, of course, with counter strafing. Now, in order to make this simpler, what I recommend is first learning how to just track an enemy just simply as this, but also being able to counter-strafe. Counter-strafe simply means that in whatever movement direction you're going, press the opposite key to stop. So I'm pressing D, and now I press A to stop. Just practice that until you're able to perfectly, each and every single time, just stop on your target. And of course, to try and perfect this, keep doing this at all kinds of different ranges, for each and every single target, keep switching targets, and then slowly start implementing uh, the tap into it. You can use anything, but I would recommend this using the rifles because they, of course, lose a lot of accuracy if you don't stop and shoot. And you can see, like, I'm still not completely getting it right. But with enough practice, I should be able to do this. And keep in mind, for most rifles, even with the M4s, it should only take 4 shots to hit. And that is really important to understand. Why am I blind? There we go. I was trying to find the A1S and I just couldn't find it. Was it a 5 shot? Oh, it might be a 5 shot. Okay, around 4 to 5 shots, I suppose. But relatively speaking, the main point of this, is that basically you understand one, of course, just preciseness. You know exactly how many shots you've given to someone, but also just how much is enough to kill them, which also absolutely plays a part in using burst fire and full auto. And so, just as likely, it is important to master tapping in order to master those other techniques. And so, for most rifles, even SMGs, of course, it will take more time to get kills this way. I mean, I know that, especially with SMGs, it's going to feel really weird doing just tap firing. I know that for a fact. But try and stick with me on this. It's gonna feel weird, and I know even I'm also just like it feels like my finger wants to burst. But in general, just doing this does help a lot in just it teaches a couple of things. Obviously, like one is understanding just how much, like for sure, like how much damage you're doing and how much is enough to kill someone. But also, it teaches you trigger discipline. Because even though now, again, I really want to burst this gun, I'm trying my best not to because it is part, of course, of the challenge. And so that is exactly what I want you guys to focus on. Now, you can actually notice that the SMG, like especially the MP7 compared to the AK, is a lot easier to actually tap fire and move because of its low movement and accuracy. So genuinely use this as much as you can. Even in close range like fights, try and tap fire. It's gonna seem backwards at first, but I think another important aspect of this is that you build confidence that you can do it, and also doing it within like full-on games is going to be weird. But especially if you are playing Premiere, then absolutely go for it. Unless you're playing something like Face It, then probably don't do that because it'll probably piss people off. But who cares? If it's Premiere, do whatever the hell you want. No matter, even if you're doing something right or wrong, people are gonna be mad anyway. So you might as well just do whatever you want at that point, at least in the sense of like practicing and learning, because well, you are kind of, especially if you're there to improve, you're just there for yourself. So just do whatever you want. You know what I mean? So that's exactly what I plan on doing as well, is to be able to understand these weapons, no matter what it is, just use them with that tapping configuration just for now. And of course, eventually, once you get that down, we can then graduate to, well, actually burst firing and whatnot. But you can kind of hopefully see what I'm getting at with why this would be useful. And of course, it won't be easy. And well, I think that is also part of the reason why I find it a much more interesting challenge, is to see how well can you do with just these weapons as, you know, just tapping, even if it seems backwards. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. That is more or less all you need to know before starting your tapping journey. Learn your counter strafes as best as you can. Of course, learn to use them at different ranges and try and use them outside of like logical situations to be able to fully understand your weapon. So, yeah. Anyway, that's about it. And well, I'll be back hopefully with the other firing techniques in some short time. Alright, see you guys.